Welcome to In the Kitchen, in my kitchen. And today we are going to be making pesto sauce. So let's take a look at the ingredients. Okay, so my basil leaves I have rinsed, and now I am laying them out on my towel to allow them to dry. I'll pat them down delicately, and as I was removing them from the stems, it was really incredible to smell the aroma. I'm just going to pat these dry. We're going to be speaking to some of the properties of basil, so you can begin to connect, if you're not already, what we ingest and how it impacts our body, mind, well-being. All right, so I'm going to allow these to dry now, and we're going to move to the next ingredients. Pine nuts, which I keep in a jar, and based on the quantity and the flavor you'd like. It's a very delicate flavor. There's a lovely smell, and you can pour into the palm of your hand more or less this quantity for making your pesto. Obviously, if you're cooking for a lot of people, you're going to increase the amount of pine nuts, and we'll be speaking about pine nuts and its qualities later on in this video. It's a staple in the Mediterranean diet, and it comes from the pine tree here. So a lot of people say, oh, they're so expensive. Yes, they are, but collecting these little guys is actually a lot of work, and it's so worth it. So maybe you'll treat yourself to buying some pine nuts. Okay, on to the next ingredient. Garlic. Garlic is, for some people, something they don't eat, but if you make pesto without garlic, it's not going to have that little kick. So I highly suggest it. 1 clove is enough. You can do smaller cloves, and if you grow your own garlic, even better. But if you don't, purchasing fresh garlic is really important. I don't suggest buying the already crushed, prepackaged garlic, but if you don't have any other choice, well, then that is what you're going to do. So thus far, we have basil, pine nuts, and garlic. On to our next ingredient. Olive oil. Extra virgin olive oil. It's an essential to always have in your kitchen. We are going to be using this all the time. I use it for almost everything, even for making homemade French fries. Extra virgin olive oil, you want to make sure you're reading the labels. Where is the olive oil coming from? Is it a mix from different countries? I prefer Italian olive oil, but depending on where you're located in the world, you'll choose which olive oil is easiest for you. It's worth spending the extra money on the olive oil because the properties are incredible, and I will be speaking to that later. So the next ingredient is Parmigiano Reggiano. It's one of my favorite cheeses. This one is seasoned for over 24 months. The other alternative for Parmesan cheese is pecorino, which is made from raw goat's milk. So, yep, these are the main ingredients for pesto. Okay, so I'm going to smash the garlic and remove the skin, and then place it into my little mini blender. And I will take the pinoli nuts, put them into the blender, close the blender, plug it in, and then here we go. See, it is nice and smashed up. And now I'm going to add the dried basil leaves. Already I can smell the perfume, the lovely, lovely smells coming just from crushing up the garlic and the pine nuts. It's getting my digestive juices going, my water flowing in my mouth. Okay, and as you can see, now the basil is nice and finely chopped. And now to the Parmesan cheese. So, how much Parmesan cheese is up to you? You can put as little or as much as you like. If you overdo it, you will notice in the density of the pesto sauce itself. So today I'll do 2 slices, more or less this size, and put it into the blender. And now you can see we've got a bit of a paste. Okay, and so now we're going to take this out of its container, put it into a bowl with a spatula, and I'll show you what happens with the olive oil. Okay, so I have my spatula, I have my little bowl, and the first thing I do is, if you use a little mini blender, you're going to have pieces of garlic and pine nuts and cheese and basil, and you don't want to, forget to take those parts off of the cap. Okay, even on the sides of the blades. And now I am, just as you can see, taking the pesto paste out of the blender and really get in there and make sure that you can see it looks a little oily, because it is. There's oils in the basil, there's oil in the pine nuts, there's oils in the cheese, and it all comes out. You want to make sure that you scoop that up. Okay. All right, so got a spoon, and we'll pull this paste off the side of the bowl. As you can see, we've got a nice paste here. Again, it's pine nuts, garlic, Parmesan cheese, and now I'm going to put the olive oil in. And you can make it as dense or liquidy as you'd like. I like to make it a little denser and then add the olive oil after I drain the pasta. So you can see the consistency here. And then if I'm going to be using this for this evening, which I will, I can leave this in the bowl and cover it. But if I am not going to be using it this evening, although I tend to cook for the day itself, but if I'm not, I can store it into a container, something like this if you'd like. We're now sitting at my kitchen bar, relaxing after having made the pesto. So we're going to take a look at the ingredients and some of the properties in these ingredients, so you can begin to make the connection between the food you're ingesting, its properties, and start to notice how you feel after consuming certain foods. So we're going to start with the basil. So basil is known for being highly aromatic, and it's nutrient dense. It's not just a green pretty leaf. And as I was taking the basil leaves off their stems, as I was washing them, or rinsing them, I should say, the smells, the aromas that were coming off of the basil leaf in that moment well, it's just pleasurable. And taking the time to clean your basil slowly, letting your children smell the basil, getting their hands on it. It's a delicate leaf that you want to treat with care. And it's a nice way of paying attention with our senses to what we're eating. But it does require slowing down, which can be challenging in today's day and world. But it's one of the little hacks I use going into the kitchen, one of my creative spaces, just to simply focus my attention on something else. And that hands-on accessing the smell, the taste, hearing the sounds, and tasting the flavor as well. It's an enriching experience, and it's so different from just like ordering something where you don't see the whole process. Obviously, I love this because I'm here talking about it with you. Anyway, so not only is it highly aromatic, it's nutrient dense. It's rich in vitamin K, which is essential for blood clotting and bone health. It has manganese, antioxidants of polyphenols and flavonoids. It's an anti-inflammatory and an antibacterial. It also is known for being a stress-reducing herb. Who knew? I know. It aids in digestion and supports cardiovascular health and protects against free radicals. All that in a basil leaf. So don't just use basil for making pesto, but it's one of the things that are in pesto, so we're covering that today. And we will be looking at creative ways of using basil, but not in this video. Okay, on to the next ingredient. Pinoli. Pinoli, also known as pine nuts, come from the Mediterranean pine tree. And they're actually really, it's a lengthy process to collect these pinoli, which is one of the reasons why they're a bit costly, but so worth it. They're a high quality protein. They have healthy fats and distinct, delicate flavors. They support cardiovascular health and are nutrient dense. And you can use pinoli also in other dishes, but this is one of the properties of the ingredients in the pesto sauce. So there you go. All that in that little tiny pinoli nut. Okay, now we're on to the garlic. It's a potent medicinal food, and it's rich in sulfur. The compounds offer a strong antimicrobial, antioxidant, and cardiovascular benefits, all in a garlic clove. The key properties include lowering blood pressure, improving cholesterol, strengthening the immune system, and acts as a natural antifungal, antibacterial agent. All that in a little clove of garlic. So if you don't eat garlic, you may want to start because it's really, really supportive in keeping your entire body very cleansed. If you cook it, it doesn't have that leftover flavor that it can leave in the mouth. If you make your pesto without garlic, you could, but it won't have that little extra bite to it. So it's optional if you are allergic to it or just can't stand it. But I highly suggest it, obviously. Now we're on to the Parmigiano Reggiano. All Parmesan cheese is not the same, and it can be seasoned for different amounts of time. The one I used today was seasoned for about 24 months. And Parmesan is an extremely nutrient-dense cheese. It's 100% natural, at least the Reggiano one is, and it's lactose-free cheese. Who knew? I didn't know that until I read up on it, but that's important to know because a lot of people need to keep to a lactose-free diet. So it's primarily made up of protein and calcium. It's highly digestible. It's rich in amino acids and supports bone health. It's rich in minerals and vitamins. It's high in phosphorus, vitamin A, B2, and B12. Now, an interesting fact for those athletes of you out there, it helps recover for your muscles. So it's considered a highly functional food in the functional medicine context, and it supports metabolic health. It's easily absorbed energy. So if you're out on the go and you don't know what to eat and you grab a chunk of Parmesan cheese, well, it's going to keep you fueled for quite a long time. And that's helpful to know. And I'll be talking about in future episodes different little tricks you can use if you travel a lot or if you're out and about and you don't have time to sit down for a meal, but you don't want to eat crap, because then it's going to make you feel like crap. So one of the options other than Parmesan cheese is pecorino, and I switch it out in my pesto. Today we used Parmesan, but pecorino is more from southern Italy, and it has a different type of a bite to it than Parmesan. It's made from raw sheep's milk. It's rich in protein, calcium, and phosphorus, and it includes vitamins A, B, C, D, and E, all that in a cheese. It's also lactose-free, and it's also an anti-inflammatory. I love anti-inflammatories. Okay, so to our very last ingredient, olive oil, also known as Avo for extra virgin olive oil. It's a staple for your kitchen. Now, you want to be mindful of where you buy it from and really read the label of the countries of origin, because today a lot of producers are mixing olive oil from many different countries and labeling that it's only from one. So olive oil is something we're going to use in many recipes we speak to together, and it's a staple and cornerstone of the Mediterranean diet, and there's a reason why. It's because it has high levels of monounsaturated fatty acids. It's a potent antioxidant. It has polyphenols, which contribute to improved cardiovascular health, reducing inflammation, and bettering digestion. Olive oil you can put on a piece of toast in the morning, and it will give you so much energy. It's great for your skin. It's great for your hair, your nails. There's just so many properties to it, and depending on the type of olive oil and where it's from, it can have a little kick, a little peppery bite. It can be a little bit more fruity. So you can shop around and find out which one works best. I use it for everything. It's one of the only oils I have in my house, and so I suggest investing in a really good quality olive oil because, well, I believe that if you invest in good quality food, then you're supporting yourself in your long-term health. So that's the olive oil. Now, as I had mentioned, there are alternatives to basil if you don't have basil on hand, and one of that is rucola, also known as arugula, and some of you call it rocket. It's nutrient dense and has a peppery bite to it. You can add it into your pesto sauce instead of the basil, so it would be a replacement. It's rich in vitamin K, A, C, folate, calcium, and potassium. It supports health, improves digestion, and aids in bone health. It's an antioxidant and an anti-inflammatory. A great thing to do before eating pasta with pesto is sitting down and starting your meal with a bowl of rucola. Add a little bit of olive oil, extra virgin olive oil, and some freshly squeezed lemon, and it will help prepare your body for the pasta that you're about to eat. Who knew? But it's great. Try it on. It's a little hack. It's wonderful. Another alternative for the basil is parsley or celery leaves. And celery leaves, most people throw out, but they're actually really nutrient dense because they're rich in vitamin A, C, and K, fiber, magnesium, and calcium. They're also potent antioxidants, came out easier that time, and anti-inflammatories, and they support digestion. We'll be looking at celery and creative ways to use celery in your cooking, but it's a replacement for basil, so that's it on that one. Okay, so when you make pasta, I suggest you eat it in the evening time because it prepares your body for sleep. A lot of people learn different rules around food, and I'm just sharing little hacks of my own here. You can prepare about 100 grams, 70 grams per person, depending on your activity during the day, and it's a wonderful meal to make for the family. You could put the water on and have it begin to boil as you make the pasta sauce. Pesto's super easy, fresh, good for your health. You heard me speak to all of the different properties of the ingredients. It's basic, simple, easy, and my go-to. And it happens to be the favorite dinner for birthdays. So enjoy the recipe. Let me know what you think. Take pictures, send me questions, and perhaps one of these days we'll make it live together in our kitchens and eat together. Nonetheless, I hope you enjoyed this video. Be well.